a lot of gist coming from the what's the word now? From the courts. There are quite a number of stories coming from the courts. Would I say a bit contradictory? Different states actually. INEC has also announced some elections, upcoming elections next year. We're going to be seeing that. So because of the off-cycle elections, it's obvious that we're never really leaving election gist. It never really leaves. Anyway, somebody somewhere has officially, what's the word now? Has officially won, said something a lot of people might not, maybe a lot of people might not like. Suspended Governor Fubara thanks Tinubu. Who saw that coming? That and a lot of other things that we're going to be talking about. The sports festival has officially ended. We're going to be breaking a lot of things down. The good parts of it, the not so good parts of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the sports festival. A bit of transfer news as well as stuff that we're going to be talking about today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. My name is Dolupo, like I said, and with me today is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the bar.
Okay.
Thank God it's Friday.
So, oh yeah, it is Friday actually. Oh, whoop, whoop, it is Friday. Didn't even think about that. It is Friday. Okay, what is wrong with me? Anyway, let's get right into it. What like I said, there's quite a number of interesting gist that we're going to be talking about today. But first, we're going to start with politics because there seems to be one particular one that is kind of surprising, yeah? And why I said it's surprising is because there's been so much opposition against the president about what happened or what he did. That's the emergency rule that he set up in the in River State. More so, a lot of the House of Assembly. Also, there was a lot of backlash. There is still, a bit of backlash as well going on with the president. Once in a while, somebody still has something to say about what happened in River State. However, the person that it really concerns exactly, that is in the person of Siminalayi Fubara, has now thanked the president, basically saying that if not for the president's intervention, things would have gone awry. So he's saying, would I say that he's backing the emergency rule or his suspension, that he's okay. Is that basically what he's saying? That he's okay with the suspension.
He didn't stop there. He said more.
Oh, God. You just have to, okay.
I just have to do my job or just...
Okay. Oh, yeah, continue.
Just act like I don't know.
Continue.
But the truth is, he didn't stop there. He actually did say more. He went on about how he didn't have a problem with his Oga. His Oga in court now is Nyesom Wike, the immediate past president of River State, who is now the president of Abuja. Oh, sorry, minister. Oh, governor. Oh, my bad. Seriously, my bad. Immediate past governor of River State. So what he's basically saying, what he's telling you people, is that they have had meetings. He came out, like Wike had said this about a week ago. Week, imagine, see the rhyme. But this is him confirming. And the reason why this is even worthy of discourse is that we had more or less played out this whole scenario here at this bar months ago when the thing started. In fact, about last year when it became public knowledge.
It became really like a lot of noise about it and all that.
And this reiterates or reconfirms or affirms what we've said. Governor Fubara has always had terrible advisors. Because now, all the people, I'm still looking for the guy that was saying, I will never follow you to see Wike and all those people. Now that you have said it openly, what are you going to do? Because they were loggerheads, fine. Now that they are trying to patch it up or mend fences or pretend to mend fences, as the case may be, How do you guys feel? Do you feel great seeing that you had a part to play? You had a part to play where you could have actually advised them differently and things could have played out differently.
Yeah.
But you all decided to do the usual divide and rule, fight to the end kind of thing. And it's not every time that there's a political problem that you must always be enemies and fight to the end. At times, you must be better calculated and you must understand the scenario and know when to strike and when not to strike. Sadly, in this case, it didn't look like these guys knew what they were. To me, because a whole lot of things were just happening and they just kept on piling on, you know.
Okay, so I think that there are layers to it. First things first, it started with maybe not having very good advisors. And maybe would I say if he could see the future, he wouldn't have done or said the things that he said. The worst part of it was, in fact, whatever started the fight could even be a legitimate thing, yeah? But you wrapped it up in so much illegitimacy that it was glaring for a blind person to see. That's one. Two, now, after the emergency rule, which I'm not sure a lot of people saw coming. I'm not even sure most people saw that coming. There was so much drama against the president and the presidency. Take for example the natural gas station. Yeah? Mm-hmm. All the women, and this is not denigrating anybody, I'm just saying it is what it is. All the people that went on day after day after day after day to to say all sorts of things against the president, even some Nollywood people say all sorts of things against the president in support of Fubara. Now that same Fubara is now thanking President Tinubu. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe at times, you really should not fight for politicians. I don't know why it is suddenly a thing that people never learn. But maybe fighting for politicians is not a good route. Like you said, the person that was dancing and say, "I will never follow you to go weekend." At this point, if you don't go, you're probably doesn't even have a job anyway. Do you understand? At the end of the day, see, when somebody is your oga, accept it. You now even and I don't think that a lot of people go on about Wike and all that, and I don't even think that Mr. Nyesom Wike is all that powerful. I think that the man is just a very strategic person, and Mr. Siminalayi Fubara made it very easy. He just made it very easy. We were all here, and it's not even a matter of allegedly. When you was like, when the boys are ready, you this, and then you were doing all that, went to a house of 3 or 4 people, presenting budget to 3-4 people. Come on now. We're not in the dark ages. Could he have pulled this off? And let's call it spade. A lot of things had happened in Nigeria.
What about
unthinkable things?
What about the issue of even analysts like you and me? I'm not saying we did, but even journalists who were getting off on a tangent. And again, what about the court cases instituted by PDP and everything? If they get to court now and they say, "Oh, we're fighting," and the
person
that person is saying thank you,
the
thank
PDP
you for
governors,
suspending me.
Yeah, the PDP governors. What happens to all that now? And you know the funny thing, like I said, is that it's one thing to want to fight somebody, but at least can we do it with a bit of common sense?
Yeah, like wait until your second term.
It was just so unnecessary. And like I said, we don't know the main issue that started this matter. But where in the world did he think he was going to fly presenting a budget to 3 people, to 4 people? Especially when
you got into a position not based on your political sagacity,
nobody knew,
not based on your political network or no. I'm not saying you're not a politician, Governor Fubara, but you more or less. I'm not saying he's not. He's a governor, so we can't say he's not a politician.
Okay.
But not on the level of the person that brought him.
And the way he was brought in.
Yeah. So based on that, you should have spent more time building your own structure, building your own network.
It's obvious you ain't got no structure.
Biding your time and all of that. Then you strike, because whatever it is, at the end of the day, we're talking politics. We're not talking governance.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, all this politics is meant to help you drive governance, so that you're at a point where people will be like, because of this governor, we thought we had it good under the immediate past one, but this is the best.
But we have not. Keep in mind, though, this is a time where governors are even now cashing out seriously.
Yeah. Again, 2 years. And of the 2 years, you would have lost out 6 months. Now, when you get back, I pray that everything goes back to normal. You now have to more or less go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Because the assembly must be back in place.
Yes.
The court had already said all of those things anyway. So you have to work with those guys.
You don't have a
Then you now have to pick commissioners. You have to conduct that local government election again.
Mm-hmm.
You get, so if you look at it at the end of the day, was it really worth it? We're not saying
that's the word, like all that drama.
We're not saying that Wike is fantastic or whatever, or not really fantastic. But at the end of the day, did either of you put the people first? But
to fight
loyalty.
See, this thing that you said, I remember having a conversation with someone, and where people get very emotional about, no, Wike he's behaving like an emperor, is this, is that. I said, well, in this country, and to be honest, first things first, take, for example, things that happened in the assembly. Maybe if this was 20 years ago, 15 years ago in Nigeria, it probably would have flowed, because we saw where an NURTW chairman was the one that impeached a governor in this country.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
In this same country,
House of Assemblies, even State House of Assembly, we saw how in one administration there were 3-4, they were changing Senate presidents like they were changing pants.
In this same country, a governor went to present his budget,
and he's the one that
to the House of Assembly, picked the gavel and
passed it by himself. So,
but those were the dark ages.
Could those things have happened then? Yes. When 2025, some things cannot happen anymore. Let's call it spade a spade. It can't fly anymore. That's one. Two, I said, when it comes to loyalty, and like I said, I was having a conversation with someone, and I said, there's something you people don't get. Yes, you can say that maybe Wike was doing too much, Abi, and he wanted to cut Wike's wings. Mm-hmm. I said, we were in this country when Wike literally campaigned for Siminalayi Fubara like he was coming for a third term.
Maybe he was.
Especially if you follow the media, how many people could recognize who Fubara was until after the elections?
Very few.
Please, I would like someone to send me 5 videos of 5 different places where Siminalayi Fubara campaigned.
Bearing in mind that at that same time, everybody has completely forgotten, the EFCC were already after him.
They were going to carry him now.
Everybody has forgotten that there's that case that's still pending.
See, when it comes to loyalty in this life, even if you think that maybe Wike is moving left, if he says every Friday, come and be paying homage to me in Abuja, I'm sorry.
You respond,
Yes. I think that
because we're talking politics
for
now.
what Wike did for Fubara during the elections, you know that he literally defied even the PDP people to put Fubara there as governor.
The funny thing is, all the people supporting him now, most of them didn't want him.
They didn't want him
before Wike.
The only reason they are not your friends, they are just your enemy of your enemy. That's it. That was what happened with a lot of people that seem to be backing Fubara. They're not his friends.
Politics is very crazy.
They're just the enemy of his enemy. So they felt that, okay, they can ally with, because you're not fight. Unfortunately, where are all of them now? All of them, not one person. That's why I said, see, we like to be sentimental. If he says, come and be prostrating every Friday.
So,
my dear, you will fly to Abuja every Friday and you will go.
If a governor is suspended for even a day or 6 months, he still has his immunity.
It's suspended.
Because it's a 4-year.
Yes, it's not been sacked yet.
Yeah, so because I'm just worried because there's actually that case, and the case is still pending.
Yes,
I don't think it's statute barred in any way.
No.
If they can still be going after the Minister of Power under Obasanjo,
and they can be going after the governor of, is it the same River State? EFCC is back.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't have that is a perpetual injunction.
So I don't think those things are statute bad. No,
perpetual injunction. Never heard of it in my entire life.
Now you have.
Nigeria.
Shout out to River State people.
Shout out to
you people. You're doing good. So do you understand? So it's that's my issue now. Unfortunately, you went through all that, which I felt that was completely avoidable. Completely and totally avoidable. Worst case scenario, even if you feel that okay, this is someone you really need to do away with, like SR said, you need to build your own, because it's obvious you ain't got no structure. Now at least it's obvious you should have built your structure, at least have more than half of the people in the house, so that some things that you would have done, now you are on top of the job of Mr. President. He now has to be sending budget for River State, and is because right now he's practically, the way he is the governor of the FCT, is practically the governor of River State at the moment.
Sad.
At the moment. And now it's whatever you get. Unfortunately, you're going to be back when the budget that has been passed and you can't do nothing about it.
So the possible scenarios in all of this is that Governor Fubara mends fences with Mr. Wike,
and the assembly. Very important.
The terms of reference will be revert to status quo, which means the assembly comes back in full swing.
Yeah.
You know, which also means that the other 4 guys are back in the house, which means invariably
they're three, just 3.
One of them went to become chief of staff.
He resigned.
I'm just saying that revert to status quo. He resigned because of all the crisis.
So
they've not replaced him.
So there will be by-elections.
That's why I'm saying that if they revert to status quo, there will be 4 more people back that are PDP.
Yeah.
I was going somewhere with that. The governor is PDP. The House of Assembly people are PDP.
Yeah.
So there will be 4 PDP from Fubara side. If the 4th person wins,
if the person wins,
there'll be 27 or so PDP. From, and they're all PDP.
Yeah.
But there will still be opposition.
Yes.
Because I honestly don't see how everything just fades away.
Another possibility is this story is the fences are not very mended, and he's impeached. Nobody's looking at that angle. The House will still have the powers to impeach him. I think that whatever conversations they're having now, I hope they're including those House members, because if not, I don't think it's Huru for Mr. Fubara. Again, I would say that this was completely and totally avoidable.
I think you need to check Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I stumbled on some messages, and I usually don't go there.
Okay. So, eTouch Africa says now negotiations don't take place and them don't show them scorecard. Okay.
Yeah.
Dolu, you're so right. Fubara made it so easy. Exactly.
Yeah.
OBJ don't do them plenty times, pulling fights with governors,
and he got away with
it. Exactly.
He won.
It's now a more dangerous terrain for him to tread, and more vested interests will cash in asking for courts. 2025, Fubara from nowhere to somewhere, authored by Wike. I agree with you.
What eTouch Africa just said there even sounds like Sounds like a movie.
Or more like 2023.
No, read that part again.
2020. I would not have said 2025. Maybe 2023. Fubara from nowhere to somewhere. Authored by Nyesom Wike. Bam.
From nowhere, you don't understand.
Bam.
That actually sounds like a movie or a book.
Bam. I agree.
Because that's what actually played out.
That was what happened in 2023. Nobody know you. Yeah, you were the accountant general, but and then he made you a governor. Let's be a little. Is it where do you people's what's it called? Are you people so ungrateful?
As much as I don't like it.
So ungrateful.
As much as I don't like it. I just believe that once you put yourself in that situation, you have to conform. You have to play to the rules that you all agreed to.
You shouldn't have taken it.
People poke a lot of fun at the governor of Kogi, but man, it's the same scenario. And my man carry the former governor for head like demigod.
See, there are quite a number of scenarios.
But you must go and study what happened in Kaduna.
In Kaduna State.
And how it happened.
In Kaduna, what's it called? Kogi, Rivers. This basically started the same way. However, in Kaduna State, why might not be able to compare these other two governors to Kaduna governors. This man used to be a senator. So to a large extent, you can't say he didn't have structure.
But what kind of structure does he have?
No. I'm saying that you can't compare. Okay, so Mr. Ododo and Mr. Fubara
they were EXCO.
They were EXCO members. This man was a sitting senator. So for you to be a senator, let's be honest, you might not have the clout that a governor would have, but you can't compare it to an appointee.
What if the image or perceived image of the immediate past governor, whom they seem to be at loggerheads in Kaduna, and some of the things that they had done as governor helped this guy achieve what he
That's what I'm saying.
Beyond that angle.
No,
which means that it has nothing to do with that. What I'm trying to say is that it could have been someone from his ex-school also who had become governor, and they are now at loggerheads, and people see, and a lot of people will switch. Because what's happening in Kaduna, especially southern Kaduna, and the sudden groundswell of support that Uba Sonny has.
That's why I think that
could it
Kaduna
be more beyond structure and more about, maybe they had issues with El Rufai?
Yeah, so that's why I was getting to. That's why I was getting to. So now that's why I said that maybe Uba Sonny's structure was also, it could have helped a little bit. So the man wasn't coming completely empty-handed, one side of it. Two, if we look at the results of the 2023 elections, it was obvious that in a place like Kaduna State, APC was not doing very well politically after 2023 elections.
Exactly.
So
that leans towards what I was trying to push.
Yeah, so they were not doing very well. However, it looked like, because the minute El Rufai left SDP, a lot of people moved to the AP. A lot of people that left the APC moved. I think what also helped the governor in Kaduna State was that a lot of people did not like his principle. So maybe the man too just, all I need you to help me to get to the position. And
again, another scenario that you must consider in these three states that we're talking about, Fubara in Rivers, Ododo in Kogi, and especially Kaduna and Rivers, it's glaring that their cabinet was more or less a carryover of the previous government.
Yes.
For instance, in Kaduna, the deputy governor
is still the deputy
governor.
Shout out to that auntie. I thought she probably would have left or something.
Nah, she lucky pass.
Just day a day, just be Jay Amula.
In Rivers, some of the commissioners,
same set of people are back.
So again,
even in Kogi State as well.
Politics, we're caught up. Look, the truth is, as Nigerians, we're stuck here.
I don't think it's a Nigerian thing.
No, Dolupo, I know it's not predominantly a Nigerian thing, but these particular scenarios, they are like uniquely Nigerian.
That people put their successors there.
select the people who they will work with, and also more or less predetermine how they would work. It's largely, maybe I don't know enough about other countries. You get? But the little that we know and we read about, and again, we must realize one thing about democracy. Democracy has to be seen in the context of every country's unique attributes.
Yeah, sorry, my friend.
Yeah.
So, I get where you're coming from, and that's why I said that everybody must be able to sit down, look at, okay, this is what I weigh. Scale yourself, put yourself on a political scale, and know, okay, this is what I weigh. This is the amount of goodwill that I have. Then I might be able to pull some things off. It's obvious, Mr. Fubara ain't got the goodwill he thought he had.
No, he doesn't.
He didn't.
No, he doesn't.
And a lot of people, like you said, you brought in Kogi State Governor. The man is just on his own, doing his own thing. Hate him or love him, he's a governor. He's not suspended.
You must also understand, again, and that's why at times, when I see social media posts, a lot of them are just driven by sentiments. Mm-hmm. The lack of understanding the structures of governance, the system of politics, and the constitution. You see, I pointed out to 3 things that you gloss over and think is nothing. Mm-hmm. But you must understand the structure of governance. Like, look, there are things from the ward to the region, to the zone, to the state, to the central, you get. You must understand those things. You must understand the constitution. You get. Now, why am I saying this? When you come out and rant on social media, it is well within your rights. But what effect does it have? When you curse people because you disagree with their
how did that
opinions,
stop Mr. Siminalayi Fubara from getting suspended?
Where do you get to? Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't get it. And again, when we try to channel those thoughts for you to make you understand that, look, by the constitution, these are the only things you can do. Forget that noise. I'm not saying you should not rant. I'm not saying you should not vent.
But let's be realistic,
but channel your energies towards the right things so that there can be results. For the people of Rivers, what kind of result do they need? They need governance.
They need governance. All this drama.
Now, every state is commissioning road. This week now, projects up and down. Different states, at least most states. Some states will never make it to this list.
At least not this.
There are about 5 of them, but they will never make it to this list because there's really nothing happening there. But let's talk about the 31 others who seem to be working, kind of. So what we're trying to say is that then the people benefit from it. Again, all of this drama, are you pushing your governors towards winning themselves off the federal allocation? It's their commonwealth. We're not saying you shouldn't collect it, but if only we had more sensible governors in power who will realize that you can actually create IGR that surpasses your federal allocation. But when they are busy fighting each other, where will the development come from?
It's interesting. We definitely would. And the truth is now, and there's one thing that you have pointed out, the kind of people, first things first, another person is the PDP governors that are taking the president to court. What happens to all those court cases now?
If I'm the president's lawyer, these are the statements that I'm taking to court.
Yeah.
That, my lord, if they are saying this, the person in concern is saying this. He has seen the light. He has seen wisdom. And that's my other issue with opposition people, that
let's be calm down.
You don't have to jump on everything.
Calm down first. Test the waters before you see what happens. However, the truth is, whether we like it or not, because there was a major conversation when this was announced that the first conversation was the House was not going to ratify it. Well, yeah,
it was ratified.
Now, it's not going to spend 1 month. It's not going to do this. It's not going to that. Small by small, looks like that 6 months is going to be complete.
Looks like.
It looks like that 6 months is going to be complete. Anyway, we're definitely going to be following, seeing what happens now. We see I will not be surprised, or it will be surprising for me if Mr. Yeson Wike does not say anything after this statement from Fubara. The man knows how to. He has a reply for everything. So we're waiting for what he will say from his own end, and we'll see, hoping that there will be a smooth transition after the 6 months.
After all said and done, regardless of what's happening in any state, in your country, in your state, your locale, please remember that you must keep politicians on their toes.
Yeah, that's the basic conversation now. Anyway, moving on from that, still talking, since we're talking about states, interesting news coming from the Nigerian Army has said that they had killed 60 terrorists in a coordinated operation in Borno State.
Yeah, a big shout out to the Nigerian military. I will never get tired of praising them. Yeah. Never get tired of highlighting the great things that they do to keep us safe. And apparently the terrorists were the ones that launched the attack in the middle of the night, as usual, around 1:30 or 1
you
o'clock.
Collected. You collected.
A few days before, some of our military and civilian JTF had actually, run into IEDs, and some of the civilian JTF people lost their lives. I think that story is coming up in a bit. But this particular night, the army was ready. The entire Nigerian military stood its ground, and they had air support and all of that. And of course, there was a festival of fire. I like to call it that because I know what these guys mean when they say that. Going through some of the recent improvements in the Nigerian Air Force, even some of their evacs and some of their choppers have actually been upgraded and brought to a certain higher level. They have newer equipment and they're using it. They're really using it. A big shout out to the Nigerian
Army on that.
Especially the Nigerian Navy. People will be like, Navy, yes. The Navy is actually involved in fighting.
Oh, a lot.
Up north.
They're doing a lot. They're doing a lot there. The Nigerian, talking about it, what you had said, the Governor Zulum has decided to offer scholarships to children of the civilian JTF members that were killed by the IED blast. And I think offering about 5 million naira to each family at that point. Sad, but it's sad that some people have to be collateral damage in this fight. Now, moving on from that, Niger State's witnessed some major torrential rain and left about 21 people dead. About 10 people are still missing. Even the Nigeria's Governors Forum has put out a statement consoling the governor and all that about it's sad actually that happened. And this truth is that everybody needs to be careful at this point. There's so many natural disasters happening around the world, and whether we like it or not, the minute you start hearing those things are happening around the world, it's coming down.
Yeah. So last week it was Ghana, and I saw videos, very scary videos. You see bungalows being submerged and people having to move to the highest point of the houses and all of that. A whole lot of stuff went down. At this point, I need to plead with us as a people. Please, this is not a time to play politics. This is not about party or anything. This is about natural disasters and how the world must get creative in solving these problems. We must evolve or die. That's the truth. And Dolupo pointed it out. I was waiting for her to finish, but she already pointed it out. So I will reiterate it. It's coming down.
It is coming
Niger
down.
is in the northern part of Nigeria. If you look at Ghana too, the way they're structured, and you know that flow is coming down. Yeah, it is
coming down. All over the world, it's crazy. So yesterday we saw, was it Switzerland, how a glacier literally almost wiped out a whole village.
So again, we need our people in government to be more creative about handling this. These are annual floods now. There was a time when the flooding in the southern part of Nigeria was maybe this particular flood would happen maybe every 3 or 4 years. 4
years. Now it's
but with the volume of water and everything and rain, it's an annual thing. So what are the things? Science technology, everything can be deployed, to make sure that these things do not have this devastate. Over 20 people dead. That's a whole lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a whole lot. Please, Joe, we're begging.
Yes. So
government people.
Moving on from
it's
that.
It's not about
quickly.
palliatives. Or when flood kills people, you now take mattresses and beds and food to them. It's about actually thinking of how you can prevent these things from happening again.
Okay, we need to move. Moving on to Imo State quickly. Imo State has apparently the citizens of Imo State had they complied with the sit-at-home order. There was supposed to be a sit-at-home order. Now, these days, you don't even know where the sit-at-home order is coming from or who it is coming from. But apparently, those things are just circulated around. And even though the police had said that they had come out to encourage people that nothing was going to happen and all that, people still decided to sit at home today, as they were ordered to sit at home in, I think it's supposed to be Biafra Day or something, as May 30.
We are still playing around with people's lives at this point. And the people I'm talking about now are students. We've already come to the conclusion that, of course, trade is suffering. Business is being affected by this weekly Monday sit-at-homes. Now, today is Friday, and there was a sit-at-home in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Sadly, the final year exams are being written. Are they done?
No, they're not. Why? No.
So, what happens to all the kids, especially in Imo now and all the other parts of the southeast, that had to stay at home? What's WAEC going to do? What's the federal government doing about it? What are the state governments doing about it? What are the people themselves doing about it? We need to have these discussions. We need to talk. Really and truly, with the level of compliance at times, I've been pointing out how it's down to coercion and force or enforcement by the people who call these things, these sit-at-home things, the people who call it and the people who enforce it. But again, on the other hand, the level of compliance also could be that maybe people actually are in tune with it. If that is the case, at some point in time, we need to sit down and talk and ask, how do we proceed, either as a collective or as a regional state or whatever. Yeah. We need to have this talk. But it's just so sad, and I feel for them. And remember, Dolupo, you see now the two most popular leaders of the Biafra.
That's where my point is, like
they're not in circulation.
They're not,
and these things are still happening. Do you see what we're saying now?
It's such a sad one. And now moving on from that, let's still do a bit of politics. So this is an update from what happened yesterday. We know that in court yesterday, the appeal court has now affirmed the election of Governor Okpeholo of Edo State, throwing out the case of Asue Godalo. We know that Asue Godalo has said he was heading to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
And all that, which, is his right. However, the governor has now released another statement today, offering a political amnesty to Asue Godalo.
What does that mean?
Okay, so I actually had to do a bit of reading as well. So he's saying that all the people that were his supporters, they've all deserted him in the PDP and all that, and that is offering him a clean slate to join the APC.
Wow. Without
any form of animosity or anything.
That's politics for you. That's why we always tell you.
It feels like he's taunting him, I beg.
Or not. Maybe he's trying to get him to withdraw the case that is taken to the Supreme Court.
That was a deal.
So again, don't die in their wars. Don't fight. These people are not enemies. They'll say everything on camera and go behind camera to still laugh at all of us. But at the end of the day, Okpeholo, the governor, His Excellency, has won 2 major court victories now. There's one more. It's not yet to huru for him too. But regardless of all of that, what it also means is that politics is very, very interesting. You have an Igodalo, he's a great lawyer. This guy has achieved a lot in that sector. And I'm sure he has won victories for other people. So is he going to just kick back, relax, and watch his mandate that he claims he won go, or maybe fight to the end.
Maybe fight to the end. And talking about fighting to the end, the appeal court has now reversed the judgment voiding Kano's local government election.
Yeah, they're more or less saying that the lower court did not even have the powers to make some of the pronouncements that it made. Again, I hate it when these judgments are made because we need you to go further.
We need to be clear. So what exactly
are you saying?
Is, do you understand?
So that we don't have that Labour Party scenario and other scenarios where...
I know that courts will tell you that is a prayer that you came to court with, that they will, but there needs to be a bit more clarity on some of these things. I agree with you. But anyway, we'll see where all that drama is going to continue in Kano State. But before we leave issue of elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission has now fixed dates for the Ekiti and Osun State elections in the next coming year.
Funny how time flies, man. Before you know it, it's another.
It's almost another election time. That's why I said it doesn't look like election time is ever going to we're going to have.
Yeah, we have elections almost every year, especially gubernatorial elections. Now, in the case of the first one that's coming up, which is Ekiti State, the funny thing about it is that maybe this talk of coalition would ginger someone in Ekiti. But from the look of things, the PDP, who are more or less like the biggest opposition party in Ekiti, they've been too quiet.
Yeah, I agree.
And by now, there's an election in a few months' time. Because in the next 5 or 6 months, we need to start saying...
Yeah, the election is about...
The primaries are this year.
Yes, in a year from
The
now.
primaries are actually this year. Primaries are, I think, October or so.
Yeah, October.
This year.
October.
So by now, if someone wants to be governor of Ekiti, by now, you should have started hearing some things and some movements.
There are a lot of things that have been really quiet.
It looks like the PDP really need to get their acts together now, or else, APC will have a run. Now, the funny thing about the APC is that the incumbent is getting a lot of
endorsements.
Yeah, I won't call it a lot of applause. However, I don't think you should take that and go and sleep, because there are 1 or 2 top APC people who might actually throw their hearts into the ring, and if they do, you might see a funny scenario. Except they are able to close ranks before that time.
So we'll see.
Before you leave, Osun. I know.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was going to. So Osun State, if we go by that angle, Osun seems to have a different case completely. And why I said so is that Osun seems to be the battleground.
Yeah, for me, Osun is an interesting setup.
It has always been interesting.
Now, the immediate past governor is now a minister. Doesn't look like he wants to go back to be governor. It doesn't look like it. I might be wrong. Now, in the APC, the opposition party in Osun, there are about 6 names of people who are actually already talking about wanting to contest against the incumbent, who is PDP. Now, if you go back and dig, the stories are out there. There was some kind of alliance, allegedly, between this current governor and the former governor, who was then a minister at the federal level.
Yeah.
Now, that same governor now is now being linked to a coalition of former APC ministers who are joining a coalition of the former vice president and former governors.
Yeah.
1 or 2 of them. What that means is that one of the reasons why this current governor in PDP was able to win was that a large chunk of the APC did not support him. They worked for him. They didn't support
the then
incumbent. It's glaring. And now they are saying that they would let people know where they are going and what it is. If they withdraw their support, it might be very hard for the current governor to win. That's one.
Yeah.
That's one. But all the things that we're hearing about, people crossing, maybe now that governor can pull the rug out of everybody's feet by simply cross-carpeting to the party at the center. that changes everything. As much as the APC people in Osun State are kicking against that possibility, they have no say if it happens.
If it happens. Now, my own issue is that, and I don't think it's an issue, whatever happens, yeah? And this has to happen like in the next couple of weeks, months, max, maybe 2-3 months, is that from time immemorial, Osun State has always been a battleground for APC and PDP.
Yeah.
Always. It has no governor has ever had it easy.
No.
None. The margin for who wins is always almost negligible every single time. So anyone that, even if you move or you cross carpet or anything, they both seem to have a mad following in the state. You can't call it until all the results are out.
If the governor crosses to the APC, you will call this one. You will call it. I make bold to say that, because this particular scenario has never happened before.
But if that happens, I think I would say that Governor Adeleke is one lucky individual.
Yeah.
He will be, because it seems to have, at every point, he seems to have like a major block working for him. But that we will see what happens. But like you had said, the Ekiti primaries is happening this year. The Osun is happening, I think, very early next year. So things have to be going on now. There's no time for anything for anybody to be doing any plenty robbery anymore. Anyway, moving on from that quickly, let's do a bit of there's this news that I saw that I felt that we should talk about. Is you think that Nigeria, but the amount of numbers Nigerian businesses are doing. Before that, the CBN governor has now been named the best central bank governor in Africa. Anyway, the one that I wanted to talk about was Glovo. Glovo is supposed to be a food delivery company, basically. I know that a week or two ago, there was talks of another delivery company that was talking about how much someone had made on their platform.
That was,
I think it was Chowdek,
Amokeoge.
Yeah, how much?
Who had made billions,
on now,
just from their own platform.
Just from there. They, as this Glovo, as a food delivery company, and this is because for someone like Amokeoge, she's the one getting the bulk of the money, yeah? Now, Glovo is telling you that just for delivery alone, they've reported a 71 billion naira revenue.
Yeah.
Delivering food.
Now, to put this in context, or to understand this, Glovo is not pan-Nigeria.
No, it's not.
They don't cover the entire Nigeria. They're probably just in some major cities. And when we say major, maybe Abuja, Lagos,
maybe Ibadan.
Some parts in the east or south. At the end of the day, this shows you that we have a thriving economy, especially when it comes to food. A lot of people always say that the food business is a gold mine. You can't go wrong if you get it right.
I like the fact that they had picked it's a niche market that is not common in Nigeria, and they decided to cash in, and they're really smiling to the bank
and cash out now.
They're cashing out at this point on that, and I think that is some beautiful.
But shout out to all
news.
the tech guys who are creating solutions.
They're picking
and making money out of it.
They're picking tiny bits that you overlook, or things that you didn't think you needed until it's really, really nice. Anyway, wanted to also put this out there. 5 people got injured in Serbia as an ammunition factory exploded.
That's dangerous, man.
Yeah. Anyway, France, from I think July 1st, is set to ban smoking on beaches, parks, and near schools. Basically, what they're saying is that from July 1, you can't really be smoking in public anymore.
I thought that was a rule everywhere. I'm shocked that France is just catching up.
Apparently, it wasn't. Also, sadly, the wildfires around Canada that have made thousands of people having to
evacuate
flee their homes. Now, there's a particular association that is suing the White House. And why are they suing the White House? Is because after Donald Trump became president the second time, they've ended sign language access at press briefings in the White House.
Look, we're all about inclusivity.
And
There
they're
are
saying
people,
that they're being discriminated against.
yeah, there are people who especially a government organization like, the presidency of America. You should not be doing that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
It's very, very interesting. Anyway, before we go, I wanted us to do a bit of time on the National Sports Festival. So I wanted to put this out there. Delta was won again for record 9th time. They've won, they went boom. But one very interesting thing that happened in a space of 24 hours, everybody had called that Bayelsa was going to be second. And Ogun decided to punch their weight and they went through.
Yeah, they actually got more gold medals in the last 24 hours than anybody at the tournament, and that made them second. It's a big deal. But one of the things that I had deduced from all of these things is that when you're hosting a festival like that, a sports tournament or festival that all the multi-sports are being carried out, you would have representatives in every sport.
Which some people
and
would not.
You would usually have prepared better than some people would just come and say, oh, we just want to do athletics and boxing and all of that. So except you're Delta State that has the capacity.
Yeah,
to be
I
everywhere,
think, was it Rivers State as well? I think looking at the table, I think Rivers State, other than Delta, actually also got more medals.
It's always been those two.
They got more medals than everybody. They just didn't get enough gold. So I think they too got to participate in.
Oh yeah, it's always been those two. It's always been both of them.
Yeah.
And they've always been at loggerheads because they are doing well when it comes to sports and all of that. Although I have my reservations about certain things that.
So let's break it down.
Yeah.
The 2024 NSF Gateway Games,
which just ended in 2025.
Yeah. What? Can you give them a pass mark? Let's start from that.
Yeah, I think they've done well. What I don't get, I agree with, is because everybody's going on about it's the best. I don't think it's the best. I think Lagos, I think it was 2012 or so, the one that happened was way bigger, in my opinion, because I covered that. And of course, I've seen this, I've been observing this, and I'm in touch with people covering it. And people who covered both. You can't compare. But yes, they did well. They did well in the sense that, one, it has helped them to improve their infrastructure. One of the things that they should never have done is to decentralize the sporting events to places where they didn't provide proper logistics for.
Yeah, I think one of the stadiums that they use now, I think the Super Falcons are going to.
They're playing there tomorrow.
Use that stadium.
They're playing against Cameroon tomorrow. So I think that it's good to use all those things, but the logistics was a nightmare for the athletes and even the media who covered it. But in all, I will give them a pass mark. I want to say kudos to them. They did well. Now they have certain facilities that they didn't have before. And which is one of the essence of hosting these events.
So that at least you can help.
Now, hopefully you would use them, create, vehicles that will help you
so
drive.
that those things don't spoil, actually. I like the fact that, take for example now, it's another stadium that maybe not big enough for the Super Eagles, or maybe not, never know. It's something, it might actually also be another option to use those kind of places. So it makes sense. It's it opens up a lot more. For instance,
the Super Falcons are playing 2 games against Cameroon, 2 friendly games. They're playing one in Remo tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they're playing on Tuesday at the MKO Sports Complex in Abeokuta. So that's using the space.
So it makes sense, makes a lot of sense on that. There were quite a bit of glitches from the one that light went out for 20 minutes to there were actually 2 different, would we say, protests.
Yeah.
At first it was the Ogun State athletes. Then it was I think it was Kogi State that, in fact, they went to the level of saying that the commissioner of sports in the state needs to be sacked. That it was kind of not it definitely did not look good.
Plus and minus. One of the beautiful things is that they created an extra state for young athletes to compete.
Yes, and that really, especially in like things like football, we saw them shine through in those sports. It was really nice. Take for example, Lagos State brought in a lot of very young athletes.
They always do that. That's the beauty of Lagos, and that's what this festival should actually be about. I think on the long run we'll catch on to it.
Yeah, a lot of really young athletes. I think there were quite a few of them too from Ogun State as well. I think that a lot more states needs to invest more in sports. But I think that it was actually it was a good outing, all in all. Enugu State has officially picked up the flag, and they're saying that next year theirs is going to be bigger.
Yeah, and again, the entertainment arm of it, the opening and closing ceremonies. Opening ceremony had Asha and Davido. Closing ceremony had Wande Cole, Waje and Kwamwan. So yeah, the whole thing was was a banger.
It definitely was. So kudos to Ogun State for I think that's another hat. That's another ring in Governor.
And Governor, did you deliberately ensure that this thing happened on your birthday?
No, he finished the day before his birthday.
Yeah, did you? Was
it? The man has something to celebrate now. Please allow him.
Was it?
Allow him. Like you said, they collect a lot more money now, so they can, do whatever it is they want. Anyway, Real Madrid has officially signed Liverpool's Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, there's a quick explanation about that because it was supposed to leave on a free in a few days' time, just like 2 or 3 or 4 days' time.
Yeah.
But they had to sign him now and pay about 8-point-something million pounds plus this. Liverpool is getting about 10 million pounds because they won't be paying his next salary and all of that. And one of the reasons why they've done that is because they need to register him for the
Club World Cup. Yeah, we know that there's a short window for the FIFA Club World Cup that is coming on in a few days' time. So that we're going to be seeing. But over the weekend, there's definitely Champions League finals. Inter Milan and PSG. Who's your money on?
Yeah,
I haven't watched both semi-final games with PSG and Inter Milan.
I'm just going to say, do not write off Inter Milan. PSG have all the flair and the bigger names, but please don't write off Inter Milan.
So, okay. Why I'm saying this is, I'm not sure if you really did watch the game with Barcelona. Yeah? Home and away. If you said I should call it, I would think that Inter Milan would conveniently be PSG. It's a final. It's not very easy to call, but I don't think that it will be that's Inter Milan. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You're shaking the table.
Sorry.
Literally.
I think that it's going to be. I don't think that if PSG goes into they will be shocked. That's all I can say. Anyway, on that note, that is all we have to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for the comments. We'll be back again on Monday at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The BoomBar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful weekend.
Remember, your Boom Radio is 24 hours round the clock.
Yep.